Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. Oh man, my camera's so messed up. All right. Good morning. It is July 15th. It's a Monday. And yeah, I hate Mondays. I mean, not that I hate Mondays. It's just trading on Mondays is like usually really bad. Hey, and we got 8 people watching this morning. Thank you guys all for turning in. That is pretty high for normal. Good morning, Uzi. How's it going? Did you guys have a good weekend? I think I had an okay weekend. I was doing really good, but then like, man, I recorded a video for you guys. I recorded 2 videos for you guys yesterday, and then I got it onto my computer, and the focus was off on them. So I'm going to have to redo it all. So I'm still a little bitter about that. But other than that, it was a pretty good weekend. Finished my staircase. Anyways, I digress. Let's go to the charts. Check it out. So the 10-year is pretty much where it was before, maybe going a little bit higher. And man, I tell you what, treasuries are in a really confusing area for me. I really have no clue where they go from here. Mine was kind of sad. Oh, I hope nothing too bad happened. Good morning, wrong. Anyways, I just don't know what treasuries are going to do after that whole, well, they didn't go anywhere after the what was it, the PPI, CPI, whatever. But then, and E-mini continues going higher. I mean, E-mini going higher, that's good. So we have that. Something, remember, as I've said, and I get this from reminiscences of a stock operator, whenever an index or a stock reaches a big whole number, like 3,000, they tend to keep going for quite a bit. So I would not be shorting the E-mini here, but, in terms of like short-term day-to-day movements, it's still really hard for me to figure out where it's going. So that's kind of the context for today. And also we don't have, let me double check here before I say something dumb. We do have Empire State Manufacturing Index here in 7 minutes. We're expecting a reading of 1.6 versus a previous reading of 8.6. So that will be an important data point to look at, I think. Considering that the previous one was negative. And then when we're going into Tuesday, we got some bigger numbers. So today might be pretty range bound. I had to help a friend in LA pack up her mother's storage unit for shipping. Her mother passed away 5 years ago and her family's grew up. Oh, that's super sad. Yeah, that would make me a little. Okay, well, the initial move here that we're getting in the treasuries is up. Oh, yes, and let's make sure that I have this up. It's already given me stuff. So even though we're not going to do the contest, I think we should still sit back and watch this indicator. Yeah. So let's put it in here. We got it at 127.30. What do you think is the best way to record this? Well, I'm going to use Notepad for now. Yeah. Okay, so moving up, lots of bids at 127.030 right after open, and then we want to see, does it go through? It's gone through for at least one tick. The expectation is it's probably going to go through 1 to 3 ticks and then reverse. Oh, there was also big asks at the open. So let's do that one. Moving up, lots of asks at open 127.025. Oh no, wait, we were moving down. We were moving down. Four. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to say that another event happened to cut it short. We lived next door to each other as kids and bought houses next to each other in Florida. Oh, so you both moved together. Whoa, that's cool. Now I own our family home and they rent out the mother's house next door. That's interesting. So just a little sad, nothing terrible. Upside target for ZB is 154.09 if she rallies. Wow, that's up there. But, you know, there's all sorts of numbers above us that they could certainly try testing. Like that 05 in the 10-year looks pretty likely. 07.5 potentially. But we got the big ask. Was at 03. And they probed for a tick. Are they going to move down? They could do it. It's going to be interesting. This going to be interesting. Let's fix the camera. Come on. Be a good camera. It's a little better. I just need to get a new webcam. It's pretty high being Monday. I have my doubts on it. Well, what was the... oh, that's weird. My opening ranges and stuff on my charts are not showing. Why is that? Oh, because it's just so small. Da-da-da-da. There we go. Well, we are above the open, so I would have to say my biggest bias tends to be the open. If we move up above the open, and especially if we push new highs, which we did, then we are unlikely to close below the open. It's like a 60-40 thing. Everything to the downside has been plowed. Yeah, I think what we might see here is a move down to 02 in the 10-year. And then maybe another push higher. Something is going on in the 5-year. You see that selling there? Maybe some spreading going on. Wouldn't mind to see that 2 and 10-year spread continue to steepen. That would be nice for me. Check everything here. Did I get everything right? Oh, you know, I didn't mention Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's behavior over the weekend was really interesting. Notice that the guys in the futures just continue to be short. See that? They're still short. And we're back probing 2000. Okay, so there you go. There's 02. And now we're getting the big asks again. Okay, so then there was one that happened at, we're going to say 02. Moving down, Lots of bids and asks at O2O, or let's say O2 half. O2 half. So if I'm reading this right, we could buy O25, but I'm trying to not make calls here. But I can't help it. I can't help it, guys. I think it's going to move up, though. It's interesting that we got a lot of bids and asks. So that could mean that we get stuck here. Right? Still see some selling in the 5-year. So it could also mean a more significant reversal. I don't know. Yeah, usually that's a more significant reversal, isn't it? But look, it does appear stuck. I do have last week's value at 153.29, a more realistic upside target for a Monday. Oh, for sure. That is for sure a more realistic upside target. Now, what about the E-mini? So I'm noticing that the E-mini, they probed it down a little bit and then came up. And then they've bounced off of that opening range a couple of times, in fact. So are they going to be able to push up and extend further? Or are they going to fail that opening range and go and test 3,000 again? Okay, so after that happened, we started to zipper. So we'll keep track of how many bars this zippers and then what the eventual outcome of that zipper is. Error encoding overloaded. What? I thought I fixed that. Maybe I just need a better video card, folks. Probably it doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah, it probably doesn't matter, but you guys probably don't notice. It's only 123 frames. Should be okay, right? ES looks supported above its initial balance. If I were trading it, I'd look for buys on a subsequent test. It's low risk, and if the initial balance fails, I'm sure that there's more than enough room for a flip. Right. Like it could move down. Even if it fails, you could still get a little bit of the move up before they push it lower again. But I'm a little... oh, you know what we need to look at? There's something important that we need to look at. Why is this like that? We need to look at the earnings calendar. I think there's a good one on Reddit here. Yes, that's what I want. So today, a Prafria City Charles Schwab, City alone is enough to give me pause. Tomorrow, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, IBM, Johnson Johnson, Goldman Sachs, CSX. Wednesday, Netflix, Bank of America, Atlassian, Progressive. Oh, I can buy stock in Atlassian now? I did not know that. I'm going to need to look at that. I don't know. I like their products, but I'm kind of questioning if they have a whole lot more growth. They might kind of be at the end of they've maybe already become too big. Let's see here. The 18th, Honeywell, Skechers, United Way. Friday, American Express. I'm looking for some of the more of the international. Okay, 22nd, Halliburton. Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble on the 23rd, 24th. Boeing. Facebook, Tesla. Thursday, 3M. What about, who's the guys that always start things off? Alcoa? I guess they don't matter. I don't see them on there. Okay. So that might be enough to just keep... well, the city earnings are going to matter. But, the banks, they all tend to be very different, so it'd be hard to read too much from that. Okay, so how many has this been in here now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So went for 10 bars before breaking lower. Can you guys hear the bunny moving around upstairs? I can see it moving the microphone level. I better double check her, make sure that she's not chewing carpet. That rabbit, we got this plastic thing to go underneath of her so that, to create a big cage for her. And she was able to get around the edge and get down to carpet and chewed out a small section of carpet. Can you believe that? Makes me mad. I did not want that bunny. But the worst part is I feel bad for the bunny because I feel like that she is not adequately stimulated and is stupid because she was caged up in her youth. I feel bad. Shouldn't have gotten the rabbit. Shouldn't have done it. I said no. They tricked me. They tricked me to get the rabbit, and it was a bad idea. Movement in the 30-year right now. Ooh, so this is a good topic of discussion that you guys bring up constantly, right? Should Seth trade the 30-year bond? And the way that the 30-year is behaving right now is exactly why I had a hard time trading the ZB. That is like what? 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks down, and then 5 ticks up, and then 4 ticks down again. So if you're trying to hold 4 ticks of risk, you better have caught the edge, right? Now, interestingly enough, there was a bit of buying in the E-mini, and it did not go anywhere, and now it is selling. So if all of that volume comes out and pushes us below the VWAP in the ES, which was a false breakout. That lower was a false breakout. Depends how you trade it, yeah. I don't know. I would need to have a much larger account, first of all, to be able to trade ZB comfortably, I think. That's the first thing. I think that if, with the amount of risk that I put on in the 10-year, I think that it would make me too nervous. It would make me too nervous. And then, and then I would have to be really good at picking the spots. I have to be really good at picking spots, and I would really have to get to trends. Because it wouldn't work if you're getting thrown around like that and you're hitting stops frequently, and then you're only getting like 4 to 6 on the winners. That's not going to be enough. I don't think that would come out to a positive expectancy, but it could be wrong. Okay. False breakout back into the zipper. I'm going to say no events. I don't know if this is the best way to keep track of all this, but this is going to be an interesting thing. We can talk about it. Once we've got a couple of these things under here, we can talk about and decide like what is the information that we want to keep in here. I'm risking 10 ticks on you risk 10. Now that's interesting. See, because to me in the 10-year, if I have it go more than 4 against me, at the very least I picked the wrong spot. And usually says I risk 5 to 8. Now 5 to 8 in the 30-year is not unreasonable to me. But that's just because like the average range is 4. And if you sit down and you say I'm not confident that I can pick the right spots, then you're going to have to risk twice the average range. So 5 to 8. Right? It's kind of, It's a lot of risk. I mean, that's $100, right? No, it's more than $100. It's $250. I've tried 3 ticks and it doesn't work well for me. Yeah, the thing that I find funny was that I was risking about the same in ZB. So probably part of why I've had more success in the 10-year is because I use a bigger stop, for sure. VIX futures are really low vol typically begets high vol and vice versa. Oh, so Dojo, are you saying that there's some potential for a high risk volatility squeeze here in the near future? I do think that the VIX is a little bit too comfortable lately. Like I said, though, if order flow is really good for anything, it's telling you when to get out. So I'm usually out before them. My 5 to 8 tick stop almost never get hit. Okay. But can you tell me what's your win rate? The problem for me, I think, in the past has been I tend to keep a pretty good win rate, but then I'm not getting enough on my winners or something like that. Those sort of a thing is like you're either letting your losses go too far or you're not letting your winners ride. Or I do let my winners ride and they come back on me too much. Uzi says at the moment 55%. Okay. And do you know what your overall profit factor is? Hold on, let me close the blinds here. I can hear it bouncing off of the window. I think ideal for me would be a win rate between 45 and 55%, and a profit factor of 1.5 to 2. That's what I think would be ideal for me. When I'm doing well, I do get that, but it's not consistent. I don't know what my profit factor is. I run the trade analyzer into. Yeah, let's do that. So another rush of buying coming in the E-mini. So those are the things that I always look at, is like a profit factor and then like your average MAE, MFE. Because that tells me, am I letting my winners run far enough? And vice versa. Or at least when you're not doing well, that's kind of where I tend to look. First to say, is it because I'm getting stopped out? Or is it because I'm not getting enough on my winners? By the way, I should say here Monday, July 15th. We should say we were predicting range bound, right? But I want to see what was the piece of news that we had? Empire State Manufacturing Index. It was 4.3 versus 1.6. So Uzi says for this year 2.84. Interesting. So let me see if I got all of the parts here. So you are hitting good percentage, and you have a profit factor of over 2, which is really, really good. And you tend to take trades at key places, like especially the initial balance. And then you use, sounds like pretty much the same order flow readings that I do to judge your entries, right? I just kind of think, I wonder if it's just that filtering down of where you take the trades that makes it work so much better for you. But even if I tried doing exactly what Uzi did, I don't think that it would be appropriate for me. Because like I said, I think I would need to have a much larger account before we could do that. Maybe someday if we build it up in the 10-year, then I could go try trading the 30-year. I guess also we should consider that we are in a period where the 30-year has had a little bit of an advantage, right? That knob has been moving up well lately. I would expect that you would have done pretty good on the 11th, right? Could have potentially have done really well on the 11th anyways. Been some good trends this year, man. I'm still mad that, we were having good action and I just blew it, man. Oh, you didn't run them from April and May. I know those messed up my numbers and I don't want to see them. Okay, I got you. But if we were just to run it to April, to get 2.84 is pretty good. I don't think if we go and we run on my good, if we cherry pick for me, and click OK, refresh, move this down. Okay. So if we put this to the beginning of December to, let's just say, the start of April, and only 10-year. Yeah, that looks good. Now look at my stats. My profit factor was 1.2, even when I was doing good. I really think that my problem, though, well, so average winning, where was it? Number of percentage winning trades, 46. So it wasn't super amazing. I've done better than that. It wasn't as well as that time period last year. I don't know. I think I'm kind of starting to think, well, we'll see how this experiment goes, but I'm kind of starting to think that, yeah, there's an edge, but it's a pretty small edge, and we definitely need to get more out of it. So I wonder, that was a couple of big bids. Okay. So in range, lots of big bids show up. I noticed my percent profitable dropped hard after I started trading more and going for larger winners. Surprisingly, I made a 70% profitable trades, only going for one tick. Well, I don't think that 70% is that surprising. I guess normalized is a better word than dropped, but it did drop. Yeah. No, if you're going for one tick, and especially if your stop is further out than one tick, you're going to hit at least 60%. But to make out commissions, well, on the 30-year, I think 70% works. On the 10-year, I think that you have to have it 75 to 80. I'd have to do the math again, but I did the math on that one. And it's pretty hard to make it on one tick unless you have a really high win percentage on it. Now, those ones that I've taken that are one tick do have that, but I could probably do okay with going for two. That's another experiment that I would like to try, but let's do this for this next 2 weeks. Okay. Ain't gonna go far making one tick a day, yeah. I don't know. I think that my biggest problem is not poor reading of order flow. I mean, I don't think that my readings are amazing, but I think that my problem is the trade selection more than anything. There's a lot of trades that would probably net me a lot that I'm unsure about, and I sit out, and then I'll get excited in the worst places to trade, and it just chops you up. I'm hoping this new indicator that I've created that we're testing today, I'm hoping that after 2 weeks of watching it, doing some stats on it and everything, that'll help me. So one of the things I'm noticing is that you'll be in the range and you'll start coming up out of it, and then you'll get the action again. So I would hope that if I was trading this, that I would have, maybe I would have taken one at the open and taken 2 out of it, and then just sat and watched. Being picky helps. In fairness, I do miss my fair share of great trades because of my pickiness, though. Yeah, well, and you're only taking like 1 a day, right? That's another thing I think is you could it sounds to me like Uzi will, get his winner and basically hit his target for the day and be done. Are they going to take a new high? Funny, nobody's trading it even after they're pulling. One, 2, 3, 4. So far we've gotten 4. Yeah. I'll take as many as it takes. Right, but you still take it to a target, don't you? But if I do manage to get a good one in early, I'll stop. Yeah. And that's something that I've never done that probably would have helped me in a couple of days. It seems to me like if you catch a really good one that for some reason, your chances of getting another really good one are a lot less. So I would always kind of thought that, we're having good action, you should continue to have wide ranges and get good action. But I think that it turns out that either A, that good action is just going to end, or B, that good action just leads to getting tossed around. If I take a trade I feel I got lucky on, I'll also stop. But that's more based on superstition. But I mean, we could do stats on it, right? What you should do is do this for us. Next time that happens, switch over to sim afterwards. Keep trading, but switch over to sim. And then, do that for a month or whatever. And then we can look at those days where you say that where you stopped, and we can determine statistically if you've actually been doing something good, or if you could make more if you kept trading it. Well, we're getting the big asks here at 04. I'm not seeing anything terribly interesting on the inside here. There is a little bit down towards a 1/2. One thing that I'm noticing about this, if we look at where we've been today and we go back to the open, okay, we had a little bit of a move down, got a signal, a little bit of a move up, got a signal, a little bit of a move down, got a signal, stayed in range. Jostled around there for a lot, and then we moved higher. I'm feeling like I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, if you'd taken it at 02 and it does look like maybe you got an actionable signal that you could read to get higher, then you could have gotten 4 ticks out of it. But then I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, but your ability to react to that and get filled that's super hard. So picking the right spots on this would be really critical, you know? Like if you could get filled at 02, then maybe it's worth it. But then otherwise you'd probably better to wait and do it in an area where you know you have a really good risk reward. And if it really does bounce there, it's going to really bounce or whatever. Wrong says, since I changed the way I'm trading, I had like a 7 profit factor. Really? That's interesting you guys say that, because I thought that getting something over 2 was actually quite unusual. But both of you guys are doing quite well, huh? I don't know. I need to keep just doing stuff. I think that I'm still kind of in this spot. Like, I think the things that I do well, I'm pretty good at, and I understand. But there are clearly still some things in there that I think are so that aren't so. You know what I mean? I'll be really confident on something and I shouldn't be, or I just really don't know. Putting a bunch of stuff together that I think should give me a good overlay and a good winner, and it doesn't. And maybe, certain order flow signal that because of the context or whatever, it just doesn't mean what I think it means. It's funny because all of the journaling and analyzing you've done, I've never done any of that. I'm not like trying to say that gives me an advantage, just that I don't do it. Yeah, I get you. And it is kind of weird, isn't it? Well, not kind of weird, but it's just the thing is, I think with trading is you can totally go in there and watch it, and you can see some stuff, and you can just trade it and do well and make money. But if you're not doing well, I think that to figure out what you're doing wrong, you really have to take stats, or it's really hard to figure out. But I think that it might be also for you, it might be more of a, maybe you just have the right mentality. It seems to me like I still have some pretty big psychological issues, right? I second guess myself a lot, overanalyze a lot. I'm overly anxious to get into trades, and then I'll tilt, and I can get nervous really easily. Okay. So when we got up there, pushed up to a new high, only 1 tick, and was those big bids? Okay. Yeah. Big public interest. Then reversed. He's still typing here. I could totally get the purpose of statistical analysis and self-reflection, psychology, and whatnot. I've just never really gotten into it. I tried journaling when I first started all the Forex stuff. People said you had to. I wound up focusing on more journaling than trading, so I just stopped. Yeah, well, and I think that's like, look at what I'm doing right now. So I'm writing all this down. It seems difficult for me to sit down and say, because I'm just trying to observe what happens. So I'm writing down, okay, which way were we moving? What happened? What was the result? And what was the risk and reward from it? So when I'm looking at this right now, most of these first four, they actually, once you got a signal, it only probed down one tick and then it reversed. And pretty much every single one that we've got has been a reversal, except for this one where we were moving up. We were getting both big bids and asks, and then it ticked up for a new high by one tick. And then we got lots of interest came in, and then it reversed big time. So I'm going to say big interest came in after high, reversed for okay, so far we've gotten 3. That one's gone. That trend has gotten 3. With a 1.8 profit factor, I made more than 7, but I'm not sure over the long term how it goes. Well, the trade-off in that one is how often you're actually taking trades. Because if you have a profit factor of 7, but you only take a dozen trades in a year, then you're not going to make very much, right? And that's where I like a strategy that gives you 1 to 3 trades per day. I think that I've been taking more than that, haven't I? But that's why I like to take timed trades, because then that sets me up for, to not take too many. Because I can totally overtrade. That dog outside sounds upset. Interesting that we're coming back to this O2 area, which would be support. Maybe you take it off there. So I'm wondering, now that we're back here to this spot, should you be seeing action here? Like, should you be seeing a lot of order placements? And if you did, maybe then we would push lower. But you're not. So maybe it's a reversal. Or maybe at the very least you take profits and it goes sideways a bit or something like that. One of the things I had to get away from real quick with order flow was looking for trades all the time. I need to have a filtering strategy. I don't want to trade anywhere in the range totally. Right? Well, and it sounds like you're saying, I need to be X ticks away from the last swing, essentially, if I'm going to take it, which is what I do. I've got to be within 2 to 3 of that swing, or it's a bad spot to take it. Unless it's like a really, really clear continuation trade higher or something like that. Now, the problem with doing it that way is a lot of the time you don't get filled, right? Because if you're doing that, you're trading in an area where it has a hard time maintaining those prices. Like if you tried to short at 04, they did not give that to you, right? You could have shorted it at 03 half. You could have gotten 3 ticks out of it, maybe. And when it comes to where I'll trade, I just go with the most visible spots: value areas, initial balance, point of control, and VWAP. So, for instance, in the 10-year, if it came back to 127, you would maybe trade that for a VWAP bounce, right? It's up here at 030. Maybe because that's the value area, maybe you could short it there, right? Those the kind of examples you're talking about. Okay, so we're going to say reverse for 3 ticks before going sideways again. I guess another question is, how do you have a hold on. Yeah, I'm looking at it. ZN is at its initial balance high. If I were to look for a trade right now, I'd wait for the pullback to the VWAP / initial balance low for a buy. Super low risk stop a couple of ticks below the initial balance low. Is there ever a time where, we've gone through the initial balance and then you would start shorting it? Would it have to be completely clear through the initial balance before you would take it? So the reason I ask that question is I'm trying to get an idea of, does he have directional filters too? Like, okay, if we're above the initial balance, then I only want to buy. And I'm only going to buy unless it breaks through the initial balance on the other side. I think because I want to have the picture and everything, I think that after I'm done writing all these notes that I will post it on Futures.io. Uzi says, yeah, last week I did that Thursday, I believe. I shorted it on a punch through the bottom of the initial balance, remember? I wanted the initial balance high rejection, but I didn't have the balls to take it. The IB is my directional filter. Sure. I was doing a test with, was it the initial balance? Anyways, I when I did it like initial balance versus the regular session open, they were, my recollection is that they were about even in terms of predicting direction. I had average 1 trade a day, maybe because I traded M and Q most of the time. Oh, the mini NQ, yeah. Yeah, now, so this goes, now Wrong's got me going on another tangent here, because then we come back into the E-mini, and it's like, okay, I think I had something, but one, I can tell It doesn't work the same way in the summer, just like everything else. It kind of feels to me, have you noticed that since it's been the summer, that they're a lot less likely to make that move in the 30 minutes before the open? I could be wrong. I mean, that's just kind of my personal observation so far, is that there's very often it just doesn't move at all. The only reason I use the RTH initial balance is because it's normally too wide, kind of throws me off. Yeah, no, I'm not even saying initial balance. I'm saying the open. So if you use the initial balance, then you're going to find that we spend a lot of time in the regular session initial balance. But days where we spend equal time on both sides of the open, like just the straight open price, are quite rare, like 10 to 20%. Most days are going to have some degree of trend based off of that. So I think maybe you could kind of use them together. The other thing is there's behavior I know for a fact. Well, I know based off of a lot of back testing, multiple different strategies, that it moves differently when it's above the VWAP versus below the VWAP. Yeah, exactly. You could use the extended session initial balance as a primary directional filter coupled with the RTH open for some extra cushion. Exactly. There's also that bull bear zone is a good filter too, but for some reason when I was doing my back testing the other day and I wanted to double check the stats on it, it was not working for me. There was something, and I think it's because they don't have the 3-session template. So I need John to give me the 3-session template. Maybe that'll fix it. But the indicator was broken, and so it wasn't giving me accurate results back. I hear you guys talk about that, but I don't know what it is. Okay, so what it is if I come back. Oh, you know what? I can't do it from that one. We'll do it in ZB. Okay. So here is the open. It is 153.14. We probed up from the open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We probed down from the open, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So we take whichever one is more. So it certainly moved more down. So we moved 12 ticks down, and then we take half of that. So if that was 12, then we're going to come from the bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 153.08 in the 30-year is going to be the middle of the bull bear zone. And then you give it 2 ticks on either side. So the bull bear zone is going to be from 153.06 to 153.10, right? 6 to 10. So this area right here. And then we can go in and we can say if we're above the bull bear zone, then we tend to buy, and if we're below it, then we tend to sell. And specifically for instruments that have extended sessions like that. And when I back tested it before, it has a 60%. Which is to say that if we are above the bull bear zone, there's a 60% chance that candle is going to end up as an up candle on the regular session. This is just really nasty action. Yeah, Uzi says it makes sense. See, it's kind of interesting because we just talked about like 3 or 4 different ways to give yourself a bias, and I'm pretty sure that every single one of those have about a 65% outlay. And yet, the thing that I think kills me is the days where those ones fail. Like when Uzi first started talking about the initial balance thing, that day, the day that we were talking about the other day, that was like one of the very few days that it didn't work. And they went up and failed and smashed through it. Alligator says, uptrend day in Eurobonds, weak expectations cuts, expected look at odds with US bonds. Thought it could provide an extra boost for a mild swing correction. This is a very, very pathetic action this morning. This is like, so this kind of trade, I think, or no, not trade. I don't think I should be taking trades, but this kind of action, I think, can be incredibly frustrating because there's probably, well, I'm not going to say there's probably, but we could get a move and it could be a really good move. You could get a really good move out of it, but then you really shouldn't be trading, and it kind of messes with you. In ZB right now, my bias right now is to buy because we're above the initial balance. But the point of control is still down below, which is telling me the volume ain't there yet for a push up, so I sit and wait. Oh, really? Oh, they'd only need to trade 100 at 21. So if they did trade 100 at 21 and then maybe we came back to the value high, then maybe you would buy? So can you buy at the value high? There's something wrong with my period key. It presses, it gives me 2 periods frequently. Man, this is unusually range bound. Even the 30-year, even if I was in the 30-year, I'd be frustrated, I think. So let's say the point of control gets moved up to that 21. That's when the order flow signals kick in, and I'll try to work out whether or not the buying is there for an up move. What was I saying before? I don't know. I'm looking at it now and I don't even see it. If you did take a buy, then you would want it to be around the 21 at that point, though. Maybe even below the 21 if you could. More bids than offers is one way. Aggressive hitting of the offer is another weak bid hitting on top of that. Yeah. That's interesting though, because you're not as interested. I would have mentioned things like, we tick up and you get a strong bid with it, or you see large orders being placed and taken on. You see the DOM start to flicker a lot, and you're giving something that's like way more simple. Just, are they aggressively hitting the offer? So even if there was a lot of, okay, so now the point of control did move up, by the way. Absorption in icebergs, of course. But like that there at 21, I don't think we would necessarily consider that aggressively hitting the bid, right? They hit it for 464, so that's a decent amount of volume, but it was kind of like just one little bit of rush and then it stayed. There's an iceberg there. I can't read too much into an iceberg, but that probably helps, right? But then you can see how easily that offer pulls. He says, yeah, no, I'm not getting in on this yet. I did get a little bit of order placement there in the range. Another thing is it's almost 7:30, right? So probably a time period we want to. I think that I did a bunch of testing on it. The offers are starting to thicken up a bit too. Well, it is thick at 24. Anyways, I did a bunch of back testing. Like, I have a strategy where I'll just take a trade at a certain time of day. And I was doing one that was like in the E-mini, 7:45 my time. So 15 minutes after the regular open in equities. And then I was just using like pure momentum directional biases. So like I think that we were above the initial balance, and the CCI was like going across 0. And then I could buy that, and that one was okay. Especially, and the more filters I put on it, like when I got some good filters on it, it was like a 4 on profit factor. But so it always seems like that around the equity open that I start feeling the want to take a trade. Signals are reasonable to bid, but that 9:30 open. Gotcha. Yeah, he's thinking the same thing I am. Although for me, I don't feel, well, I guess that 24 pulled really easily, didn't it? Look at that. I'm still a wee bit cautious though. And like another thing that could happen is the 10-year could push up and make a new high and then pull back like immediately again, like it did last time. Okay, so on the open in the E-mini, first of all, I'm noticing that the micros and the regular E-mini were kind of not in sync on the open. Now they are, but on the open they weren't. And the initial move is a sell. First move is definitely a sell to the tune of about 1,000. Okay, so the 30-year ticked the high. So that's curious to me that it was like they pushed the point of control up and then immediately buying came in. So that's of the things that we've been talking about over the past week. That particular phenomenon about whether the point of control moves up or not is the most interesting to me. I wonder if I can make an indicator that shows us when the point of control has changed and would throw a signal when it changes so that I can backtest on that. I feel I'm a little sleepy. I just noticed myself almost drifting off there. So the initial move is definitely down and the volume equalized there. You tried making another push. So even in the E-mini, this is incredibly yucky action, I think. So now the point of control is moved up. Bids are thicker, decent buying. So went from 21 to 24, now 25. You can see how the bids stacked up. Well, the balance between bids and offers stacked up. I'm not seeing... I bet you could set an alert, but I'm sitting here watching it for 8 hours a day, so I never really needed it. Now, I'm talking about something that, like, if point of control changed, moved up, then for that bar, it would give me a reading of 1. And if the point of control moved down, it would give me a reading of -1, or however many points it moved, let's say. And then I could backtest to see if there's something to using that as some sort of an entry. Okay, so that time they moved up to a new high without participation on big orders. Well, without significant changes in the level 2. There was a little bit more like everyone interest, but other than that, so I'm going to make a note of that. Broke higher from range bound, but without any So I want to keep track of this one because we have a theory that when you get a move like that, that it is likely to reverse. So you're getting a higher high without wide participation of the market. Also, the E-mini is in a buy location. Well, it's right at, it's close to the initial balance open. I should keep an eye on, let's see here, in the E-mini. They might go for 30.10. Do have weekly value at 29. Well, the break higher was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll see. I'm not supposed to be taking a position, but I think it's going to reverse there. I'm not entirely stupid. Man, it's interesting just because this is all very different from when you first were in here and you're only taking one. And it's kind of interesting that you just kind of arrived on those rules and do so well with them. But it could totally be something that we would really need to do a little bit more back testing to see, because it could just be something the past 6 months, you know what I mean? I do know that from, even after the summer, evolution, my dude, there you go. Even after the summer, I remember there was a time last year where it was, now granted, I was using different indicators. I was looking primarily at the VWAP, but there was days where it would spend 50% of the day above the VWAP and 50% of the day below the VWAP. And my directional bias just totally fucked me over. Okay. So they got another tick out of it. Alligator says last trading week before holidays. Oh, you're going to get it away again? He took a big holiday at the beginning of the year, too. Well, at the beginning of the summer. E-mini is still in a place that I could potentially buy it. Point of control did move down, though. So, judging from the E-mini here, if we're going along the same indicators, right? We are within the initial balance, so this would be a place where we would favor doing a buy. But because the point of control moved down to the bottom, I should hold off, right? I'm wondering, the fact that we're not seeing the large orders come in here, is that an indication that it can continue? Well, there was 3 there. Okay, now we're getting some more asks. Okay, so it was actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to say 6.5. 0.5 meaning that it didn't clear 06. While you're using the RTH, no. On my E-mini, that's the initial balance from the extended session. The move could be rejected. Whenever the point of control moves, I look at it as an opportunity. You could just as easily buy the point of control moving down but being rejected by. Okay. Fair enough. And then I think I want to take it right here. No, it didn't like that for some reason. Oh, I know why. I'm sorry, I meant RTH point of control. Oh, right. You're talking, yeah, I gotcha. The extended session point of control is still way up there at 3022. Well, based on the cumulative delta in the E-mini, this could probably go just about anywhere because there was all that selling. Why is it not like that? Gateway timeout. That's a new one. Anyways, it means that they could push down for a new low or push all the way back up to the new high probably pretty easily just because there's not that much cumulative delta actually out there. So if a big guy actually came out and decided to do something, you know, it's kind of like if we had a big move down, right? There's a lot of interest on that move down, and so it's a lot harder for it to move up. But if we move down and there's not a whole lot of participation on it, or there wasn't a lot of volume, it didn't take a lot of volume for it to happen, then the chances of that completely reversing can potentially be higher because it's going to take less volume for them to do it. Well, right there at 1725, there was a little bit of rejection. And they tried buying up through it and they got pushed back. Now the extended session point of control moved down. Oh, you're correct, sir. Yeah, now if the order flow is telling you the sellers are stronger down there, don't sit on it. Well, I already don't like it. But this is a spot that I have a hard time interpreting, and yes. So I don't like that it's down here. But I think that I feel like that there are sellers, but I think the primary reason I think that is because they're down here now. I do kind of see the cumulative delta moving down, though. When it gets down to the bottom, though, I'm not seeing a lot of interest. Well, it looks like they're going to do it anyways. It's just a reason to start paying attention if you're flat. Gotcha. Well, I don't like that at all. That's going to be a stop out. Almost certainly, right? Boom. So I'm thinking on that one, it was an okay trade, but when I saw that right there, that was a countering signal I should have gotten out. Lewis is taking it short, huh? Is it 2 ticks above the IB low? Why does it keep giving me that? Oh, it's giving me errors because of Jigsaw. The Jigsaw stats server is having problems. That's what that is. So you're saying that it probably was better to, if I was going to take it, that I should have been taking it closer to the initial balance low, huh? Okay, now I'm seeing some big bids. I'm just saying there's still a chance the initial balance low holds. It doesn't look too encouraging, but it's something to consider. Well, the time was right. Okay, now there's really... That's a reversal right there. Okay. Well, I shouldn't say it's a reversal. There's a potential inflection point there, though. Hey, looking for trades within the IB, it's almost as annoying as in trading the center of the range. Well, I think my problem in the E-mini has more to do with the momentum. Like, the momentum was down, right? So even now, I think that we need to see upside momentum before we try taking a trade along again, right? It's just trying to catch a reversal, and this is probably a bad idea. And that's, I guess, what we were looking for, wasn't it? How do you see that's a reversal? You're talking about in when I said in the 10-year? So what I'm saying is when we came up there to push a new high, you saw a lot of big bids showing up and pushing it up. So that creates an inflection point. So even if it doesn't reverse, though, just the fact that we've formed a zipper there shows that that was the right read. It's an inflection point. Now, does it continue higher or does it move lower? Well, the theory is that if you're getting the big bids, that they're spoofing it higher and that there's a good chance that you're going to at least see a pullback. But, like, is that a short? Well, that'd be awfully hard to short that, right? So 015, though, it looks very attractive to me. So for that, it's probably going to move that regular session point of control down again. So why would I be taking that? More iceberging at the top. Sellers are definitely trying in ZB. Yeah, actually, they did push it down in cumulative delta a bit, didn't they? Nope, I screwed that one up. So I'm wondering here how much of this movement in treasuries. Well, I see. Oh, gold was moving up. Tiny bit of a move up in the 6J. The correlations, but it does awfully feel like that this little bit of a sell that we've had since the open was a part of it too. Probably in that case, though, the currencies probably mean more. But given the place that the 6J is in, it's difficult to say if that action continues. Also, the fact that it moved up without a lot of action over here on the book, that could be a reason why, is because it's going with correlations. Okay. What's this going to do? Are they going to push higher again, or are they going to reverse in the 10-year? it stays in this zipper much longer, you're going to get a strong sell signal. I do see bids trying to hold the market in the equities. They're making a little bit of progress. Nope. They don't try very hard, do they? Well, we said 154.09 was kind of high for a Monday, but now it's just 9 ticks. I don't know. That still looks super far away to me. I don't know, man. It's going to be really funny if it gets there, isn't it? It'll surprise the crap out of me if it gets there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it is now giving the 11 tick reversal at a high. I don't like taking that trade at the high, but this one's a little different because this was like a high and then a little bit higher high, and usually I'm only talking about that when it just gets up to the high and stops. But I think that my rules would still be not to take it, but I suspect that's a short. Let's see. Well, they're starting to build some good delta here. I mean, I wonder, are they going to push a new high in cumulative delta if something going to happen? Or is that an indication that sellers are still very much in control? You can see that the micros are buying it up at the 16.5, but the ES can't do it. And they finally held it for a second at least. You're still within the initial balance, so either way, if you ask me. Yeah. To your perspective, when we're within that initial balance area, your probability is uncertain. uncertain 50-50 or unknowable. $75. You mean 30, 16, 75? While I am detecting some changes in large level 2 orders here at this spot for some reason, that is a new cumulative delta high. Uzi says yes to that question I asked earlier. I'm now starting to see some big orders. Something's happening here in the 10-year. The ESB-shaped profile formed suggests longs covering like a textbook. You talking about like overnight profile, double distribution sort of a thing? I'm not so sure. I mean, it's pretty wild profile so far for the overnight session, isn't it? Plus, like, why would longs be covering on a Monday? That doesn't really make much sense to me. Yes, previous days was a run up. Well, that's true. But I kind of thought that maybe when we closed on the 12th, like that last little bit move up was like there was some people trying to short it all day and they had to cover and it moved us higher. But perhaps you're right. But I guess the only reason why I'm questioning it is because to me, the profile still looks really messy, you know? It's not like a clear double distribution, for instance. It can be reestablished later in the day. Well, that's a good point. So they could be long and they might have gone long again and then... Okay, so ES did make a new high. Oh, I'm sorry. Screens I was over. It's still over there. There's a new high in the 10-year. And ES had it had a good move up in cumulative delta and a new cumulative delta high. But now kind of pushing down again. And Treasuries really seem to want to move up. It can't beat it. It got out in ES and ZB now, huh? Hmm. New point of control may be coming at evens. Mean 3016 even? No. Oh no, you're talking about in ZB at 154 even. Gotcha. So what I'm reading here in the ZN is just as still an incredibly range bound market that is somehow able to continue to push one tick higher over and over again, right? But I'm still getting like lots of like, it's gonna stop and turn around kind of stuff. Seth, I notice again you have a good feeling to stuck in a range. You should change your strategy. Or no, are you talking about in the ES? In the ES, we're definitely stuck in a range too, aren't we? I think that this particular entry was a little bit better because I was getting a little bit more. What is the word? I was getting a little bit more upward momentum. For range, get quick ticks, don't go for big profit. Sure. Or if I'm going to take one, then just if we really are range bound, don't take one, right? Although in ES, I don't think that we can just take one, right? Unless we want to scratch it. Well, now the 10-year appears to be reversing. Just 4 ticks, like that right there. Well, I don't like that. Did you see that? Oh, that's because I wasn't taking a. There we go. When I put it on the first time, a bunch of people added. See, somebody else added. So now you're starting to get some action like accumulation, but that sort of a thing is you can't read too much into that. It's such a short-term thing, right? Okay, so the E-mini did reverse, or sorry, the 10-year did reverse. That's exactly why I don't like that 11 tick zipper at a high. It's like they'll still go for a new high and then who knows? But this time it reversed. Or at least it's a pullback. That could just be a pullback, huh? 05 might be the spot to buy it. Yeah, so that right there is not favorable. That was a pretty decent amount of cumulative delta long. No, I'm not taking any trades in treasuries this week because we're watching this. So it did reverse for at least 2 ticks. Is Bitcoin going to drop further? Well, something kind of weird is going on in Bitcoin because every time that we get down to key levels, like a trend line or support level, you always see a ton of Tether get printed and go out and buy it. Now, this time, on Friday, there was a big Tether print, and we're lower. So that tends to be a bad thing, right? So totally, that alone would give me a bias of lower in Bitcoin. And of course, I also want to point out, if we look at the Bitcoin futures, they're still selling. Okay, but this 10K is like super hard support. So, I don't know if they're going to make it through that or not. Who owns Tether? So Tether is related to Bitfinex. But they go through with a bunch of different exchanges. Okay, here's some big asks showed up and it reversed. I should say moving down, big asks and reverses for 2. There we go. I'm targeting 155 even. Okay. It seems to me, just looking at the level 2 interest in this move, that the momentum has subsided. So I don't know if that means that there's even going to be another move. How can they be allowed to print Tether for free and buy Bitcoin up, Chatman? That is a very good question. And I don't know. I mean, because as far as I'm concerned, what they're doing is fraud. We actually got a confirmation, I think, on Sunday that Tether is like 75% backed right now. So they're basically lending money out to people. And whenever I bring that up, I tell you what, this is something that's really been irking me the past week. So whenever that gets brought up, Bitcoin people will come in and say, well, that's what the Federal Reserve does. No, that's not what the Federal Reserve does. Okay. Borrowing against future growth, telling everybody that this is going to happen in a congressionally mandated, highly regulated open market system is totally fucking different from telling everybody, oh, we're back 1-to-1 when you're not. You know, what Tether is doing is fraud, and they're gonna get slapped for it. 100%. The New York Attorney General is going to hit them for this because what they're doing is fraud. And not only that, but they're lending it out to traders in New York and allowing traders in New York to trade on their exchange, and those traders shouldn't be on that exchange. So the whole thing is just a big mess. And I suspect that what's going to happen is the feds are going to come in and shut down Bitfinex. Who knows how long? I mean, this court case could take a while for it to go through, and I don't know if the market continues the way that they are now until then, or if they figure it out before then and Bitfinex collapses on its own before the court case finishes. But if they hold a large position, they can also manipulate Bitcoin. Yeah. And that's the whole thing, is that they should never, having a large degree of the market, let me rephrase. You shouldn't be having more market volume going through on a stable coin than you do on the actual fiat currencies. Right? I'm really surprised that people are even willing to trade their Bitcoins for that. Like, honestly, if you had Bitcoins, why would you sell those Bitcoins for tethers? Really? What are you going to do with those tethers? And you can't redeem them. They're not. If you all tried to redeem your tethers right now, if everybody tried to redeem their tethers, 25% of you would not get your money back, if not more. What does that say? That says Bitcoin is not worth what the market says it does. What the market says it is. Yeah. So, but the big caveat to that is, since there's fraud going on out there, why wouldn't that fraud continue? So could Bitcoin find support and reverse here at 10K and still hold 10K? Totally possible. I don't know. But I don't think that it's very wise to be trading an instrument where whether you win or lose is basically based on what the fraudsters want to have happen. You know what I mean? That's not a good trading strategy, I think. So I'd like to think that it's going to go lower, but I couldn't put money on it. You're getting quite a bit of, well, anytime that gets to 2, that kind of changes things. Did reverse. Can you use the knowledge that when the printing is getting done by Tether, it will make a certain move to make money? You can. There are a lot of people out there doing that. Okay, well, we're going to try this one more time and give it a short leash. So there are people out there that are like buying it up, and then, you know, it'll move, and then it's the whole thing is crazy. But yeah, people are totally doing it. But you got to be careful, because here, just what we had just happened over this weekend, right, was that there was a Tether print and a bunch of people bought it, and then it failed. So I don't know. So Tether has to make it public knowledge how and when and how much they're printing. Well, Tether still has a blockchain, right? So what they're doing is they're looking at the blockchain and they're seeing that they created a certain amount of Tether. And you can even see where it's going, although that I don't think usually the wallets, they don't know. Like they don't know who owns it, but they can see this much went to this exchange and this much went to this exchange. So that's how they know that they're printing Tether, and then they're going out to these various exchanges and buying it. And buying Bitcoin, rather. That's how they also know, for instance, the Tether printing intentionally avoids Bitcoin Cash, for instance. In fact, some people are saying that it's being used to sell to short Bitcoin Cash. Things like that. Like the whole thing is just super sketch, right? Well, I really wanted that and I'm mad. And I want to buy that. But that's probably a bad idea. Right there on the edge of the profile. Am I going to miss it? Sad face. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fuck. Can you believe that, guys? Finally had one on there that would have worked, and that's the one that didn't get filled. Sorry about all the questions. I'm just starting to learn about trading. Well, no, it's totally cool. I mean, what you're asking is really more about Bitcoin than it is trading, right? Lewis Allred says, yep, probably means yes, I can believe it, because the fact that you didn't get filled was a bullish signal. They're buying it so much you can't get filled on the bid. You know, I don't know if it's really so much trading, but you know where I would go for if you want to follow the Bitfinex stuff is there's a Twitter account called Bitfinex, like Bitfinex but ED, and he's kind of like I almost want to say conspiracy theory level guy following this, and but he's been able to call some of these things almost to the T. What's going to happen? So, you know. Well, now that it's back, I don't think that we should be trading it, huh? The day is still young. Well, not for me, buddy. I'm disappointed that I took those two and they both didn't work out, but, you know. Minus 15, it's okay. Nice guess. I need to learn to catch the momentum better. There's definitely a buy still in here. I think that you want to buy somewhere around the top here, like 1725, but okay, so let's go in here. I'm going to put this in a spreadsheet, I think. Not a spreadsheet. A Google document. This is probably the best way to do this. Okay, so here's the notes. And then I'm going to put it in right here. I'm going to make this chart all big. I'm going to zoom in. Okay, and I'm going to take a picture of it like that. And then I'm going to put it in here like this. Okay. Okay, so then at the end of the day, I'm going to say was very range bound and slow as expected, but stronger uptrend than anticipated. Many events did continuations. Oops. This needs to go down here. So, my take on this so far is that it seems to me like when you get this interest, especially if it's coupled with a large degree of interest from the regular orders, that we tend to reverse for a little bit. This one's probably doesn't count, but here we have another one where it stopped. In this case, it went higher and then it reversed. It seems like when you get that signal, there's definitely like they can always go at least one tick further, if not 2 or 3. And when you get one, it could only be worth a few. It's like there's a larger trend still means more. Yeah. Maybe we should do it from the beginning of like the... Sure. Then you can see that the trend was definitely up. I don't know if these notes are good enough for me to... I think I should be able to go back in here and later we can go in and say, okay, here's all the action. Here are the trades that we took. I think we can, but it's going to be a lot of work, right? So yeah, that's okay though. What do you guys think? I could even make it, if you guys want, I can share it if you want. Just get a shareable link. Can view, copy link, done. Here, so I'll put it here in YouTube for you guys. So you can take that a look at that later. I'm wondering, can we make it anyone with the link can comment? I'll do that. Okay. Okay. And that way, you know, if you guys have thoughts on it, you can put it on the sheet, and that would be even more helpful. Okay, so let's post our cryptocurrency notes next. Let's see what our oscillator has. I feel like the E-mini is definitely a buy, but I just couldn't get it. Couldn't get it right. Oh, okay. So on the 13th, we actually were putting down a little bit. Okay. That's weird. Oh. Oh. Oh, I'm having issues with the data source. What was it exactly? Okay, so 11,412, 151. So we're still getting a reading of 75. That's actually a lot. 75. So 75 times 100, right? 7,500. Mm-hmm. $325. I think Bitcoin might be crashing, folks. It's like, the thing is I'm really cautious to make such a bold pronouncement, because it does appear to me that there is some serious manipulation going on in Bitcoin. But it also seems to me that despite this serious manipulation continuing, they have momentum has really flipped on them this past week, like just there at the end of the week. And I suspect that there might be further downside to that. I mean, if they really break 10K, then all of the regular people are just going to totally panic. It's almost like, or at this point, I think there's more incentive for the manipulators to go short. I could be wrong, but oh, you know what? They did stop there. I didn't catch that. But big bids and offers come and they stop. Like the thing I'm starting to think is that when I get something like that, I should just take it off. Unless there's something really telling me that it's going to shove it up further. Like here you probably wouldn't have wanted. Well, I don't know. Like here, you got one right, and you should have taken it off. And then it reversed, but then it did push higher. And you could say, well, it pushed higher, but then so what? I think that was the trade right there. The only really good trade for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ticks. It was good. And it had, it gave you like, well, now this one, it's hard because it was a zipper, but look, it was 11 ticker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's going to go higher. It's a good trade. Because, see, do you see that? Does that make sense? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And the momentum is up. The short-term momentum was down in a reversal. Right? There was already significant balance at 0.2 Yeah, you buy it there. And that was when the VWAP moved, wasn't it? And then we got that move up. So that's interesting. And that VWAP thing, I'm gonna write an indicator for that. Maybe when can I do that? I wish I had more time today. Well, maybe tomorrow when we're watching this, we can write one that shows us when the VWAP moves. That would be cool. Okay. Did I post my notes over here? No, I'm still doing it. You mean point of control? Yeah, I mean point of, what did I say? You know, my brain must already be mush. Oh, I didn't put a title, that's why. And open updates 1907-15. It would be a really useful thing. So I was looking at it the other day because I wanted to say, I wanted to try and test based on the point of control. Oh, I said view up. Yeah. No, I know what it was. Is I wanted to be able to get the previous day's point of control, and there wasn't a good indicator to give that to you. So I think that I'm going to make one. I'm going to make one, and it's going to tell you the point of control, current point of control, and then when it moves, it will give you a bar telling you how far it moved. And then we could use that as a signal, and we could try back testing a couple of things. We could say, like I want to try if the point of control moves up, then take a trade based on how far it moved up. Take a trade long, rather. Naimini is falling back down again. Dang it, you just need an NT8. No, but I did get one. Wait, is it in there? I don't think that that's in there. Let's see. PPO. There is the, those other charts, but I want something that's just point of control. And then we can give it to everybody. And it's not hard to make either. In fact, I already have some code that would give you So what happened was we were talking on Friday about doing the contest to win a license. And then John came to me and he said, well, I don't think that he wants to be singled out, but we were talked about it. But he was like, I have one because I have the relationship with them as a vendor, NinjaTrader 8 vendor or whatever, right? And so he had that extra license that he didn't need, so he's letting me use it. Put the order flow volume profile on the chart? Sure. You mean this one? Oh, look at that. Tells me that the point of control is, no, the point of control is at O2. So what does all that mean? Please run resolution tick on tick-based bars. Do I have? I do have tick replay on. And there's got to be change something in the settings, huh? Okay, label, type of volume. Ooh, you can tell how many ticks there are. That's cool. Profile period session, hours, resolution, ticks, value area, visual. Show value area, show point of control. Point of control is that orange dash. It seems to think that the point of control is at 127.05 half, which is not true. Those 30-minute charts I share here, those all show the previous point of controls and stuff uses that indicator. So I'm wondering though if, oh, it does. It does change. I don't know. The problem with that one though is that you're adding a ton of stuff to the chart that you don't necessarily need. And the problem is, no, yeah, this isn't what we need, because It shows me the point of control for like the end of the day, but it looks like it changes it, right? Because we should see it as the point of control was here, and then we should see that line move up, and then it should be here. So that's what I want to make. But it's cool. It's super easy to make. Yeah, we just have to have a dictionary, put the volume into the dictionary, pick which one is track which one is the highest, move it when it's the highest. I already have code to do this. Trying to think of which one it was that I have it at. Is it the range histogram? I don't know. Well, I have a couple of different ones that do that sort of a thing, don't I? Just can't quite recall which one is which. I do have my own level 2 column, and I could still decode from there. That's probably where I would do it. Or it's going to be volume profile column. This right here. Oh, it enables show developing point of control, you say. Height bars. Oh, I don't see that one. Where is that? Developing point of control? Visible. Ah. There you go. So now, yeah, I see. That's interesting that it's within there. It was not visible. We need more. I shouldn't have put it on this chart. How much time do we got? Okay, we got a few more minutes. We can look at this. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Right, let me remove it from that one. Let's just try this one. We'll put this and we'll indicators. We'll remove the cams. Yeah, we'll remove everything actually. And just add the order flow volume profile. And what was it we had to change? Developing point of control. Apply. That's so messy. That gets rid of everything. Uzi, you mentioned something interesting earlier about trading off point of control. What an order flow trader adopted from the big boys chat with traders. You might like this. If you want to run it on your range chart, just make the colors of everything you don't want to see transparent. Yeah, that's a good idea. Color for a profile. I love that they're using cornflower blue. I wonder if they pull that from my own chart. Da, 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 da. Transparent. Okay. And then I want want some of these other things like this value area one. I don't think should be visible. Okay. And what is this initial value area? Is that what it is? It's displaying to me as well? No, it's not that one. Oh, it must be this one? No. Can't be that one because I don't have that visible. Is it the point of control? No, it's a dark. Well, maybe this is good enough. It's not. 30-minute resolution is too tight. Okay. Okay, now I can see. Okay, so down, down, up, up, up. Up, up, up. Down, down, down. Down, 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 up. Well, okay, but that happened after the open, so news doesn't matter. Ah, here we go. And that's the one, that's what I'm looking for. Right there. Still getting that crappy. Oh, I know what. So I gotta go. I have developing point of control, but this point of control, I don't want to see. There. Okay. So I'm looking for spots where the point of control moves twice. Right? That's going to be the one that's going to screw you over. Anyways, we can definitely program from there. You can say if developing point of control moved, then yada, 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 right? Maybe I should put this one on these charts now. Maybe I should get rid of the cams. Yeah, we'll mess with it tomorrow. Say 51. I can just close this one. Glad I took that picture before I started screwing around with things. What else? Yeah, what's the chat with traders episode you're talking about live action? I'm interested. Carney, Bank of England, 4 Fed speakers in retail sales tomorrow. Is there? So we looked at the news. All I saw was there was stuff tomorrow. Oh yeah, it was retail sales. I didn't catch that there was some people speaking, but they're much later in the day. I kind of feel like the thing that's weird to me is I expected today to be a range-bound day, and it was, but they still had a good, strong move up. So that right there doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm not sure what that was all about. But yeah, I don't think that today is a good day to trade. I only took the 2 in the E-mini. I had that last one, and I think I was only going to take 8 ticks off of it. Probably shouldn't have taken any in the E-mini. So, anyways, so I gave you guys that link earlier, so you can you can leave comments on that. Do I have it? It's over here. Yep. So you can leave comments on this. I think we could change the format. So if you have some ideas, comment on that and let me know, because I'd really like a better way to journal something like this. And because, yeah. Anyways, but I think we have the picture, so I should be able to go back and say, okay, this happened, yada, yada, yada. And, watch the video and everything else. So we definitely have all of the data that we're going to need to recompile any kind of a stat for a strategy that we want to do at the end of this 2 weeks, but it's just going to be a lot of work. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Since I didn't see any more comments. So thank you guys for watching. Yeah. Took a loss today on the E-mini. Interesting stuff in the 10-year, but man, treasuries are still just, I'm not quite sure what they're going to do there. Longer term action is a mystery to me. So that is the title of the chat video. You can also type BLB capital. Okay. I will search for that one. I'll watch that today. All right. Thank you very much. I will catch you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.